The following changes have occurred over the past 24 hours. The offensive pace of military operations remains in the area of responsibility of the North Group unit. On the outskirts of Kulanovo, the fighters continue to expand the controlled territory. Motorized infantry units of the 80 Brigade moved out of Popovka, after which they entered Sidorovka. Later, having broken the enemy's resistance, she was completely released. An elevated area of the territory begins a little to the north. Ukrainian forces are accumulating reserves to hold positions in the Ulanovo area. Logistics is laid on that site. There is still active fighting in the Slavic direction. In the Cooperage Trap, on an elevated part of the territory, a fighter brought material supplies across the field. Indicates that it was moving towards its position in a westerly direction. A Ukrainian cameraman hit him with a kamikaze drone. The pocket from Nikiforovka to Privol is almost completely closed. The soldiers are also pushing through enemy positions in Nikiforovka. They are supported by gunners. A Ukrainian dugout was discovered in a wooded area. The D-30 crew destroyed this fortification with high explosive shells. In addition, according to the description, all personnel inside the fortification were destroyed. The Russian side is also pushing in the Constantinowski direction. In the eastern part of the city, the defeat of Russian positions began to be regularly recorded. The enemy is gradually forced to retreat. The situation of the Russian side is improving. To the north, control continues over the supply routes of the Ukrainian garrison. Waiting drones are also used. In this action, in the northern part of Konstantinovka, the enemy was moving south in a pickup truck with supplies. The drone immediately switched to active mode, where it began to chase the transport. The APU only managed to get to its point and leave it. The FPV drone hit the supply car. Other drones were shown burning it. Gorenje, the transfer of reserves and the supply of material support is disrupted. Further south, the main work is underway on the approaches to the southern part of the city. The Ukrainian side has so far managed to maintain its presence in Berestka. The enemy is trying to prevent a complete loss of control over the point, since after its loss, it will be possible to enter the southwestern part of Konstantinovka. Further south, fighting continues in Stepanovka for its subsequent capture. Almost the entire southern half and the surrounding area are under the control of the Russian side. Fighting continues in the area of responsibility of the Vostok group. The enemy began to launch attacks every day to regain lost ground. It is active in the area from Thorny to Zaleznichny. In one attempt, an armored vehicle was able to reach the eastern outskirts of Ternovati. Russian operators immediately began hitting enemy personnel and equipment. The lead tank was equipped with enhanced anti-drone protection. The operator destroyed it. The elimination of a temporary deployment point with a tank crew was also shown. In turn, at Stella, the Ukrainian side showed its presence with its flag, where earlier the Russian Deuce with its flag identified itself at this architectural structure. There is no sign of confident control by the Russian side over this point. The line of collision is shifting in the Internovatov area. In another attack, the enemy moved in the direction of Priluka. In addition to drones, Russian troops are setting up minefields. One Ukrainian armored vehicle was blown up by engineering ammunition. Another piece of equipment continued to move slightly to the south, towards that village. At least, the crew was temporarily able to enter the northern part of Priluki. The equipment was destroyed by drone strikes. The dismounted group ran to the forest area, which was located near the cemetery. The operators destroyed it by the same means. At this point, the line of contact remains unchanged. The enemy used different routes, but Russian operators have been monitoring the air all the time. They destroyed manpower and equipment, both on approach and on return. In the example above, a kamikaze drone hits an immobilized unit on the way back. At the same time, units of the Vostok group are actively fighting to liberate Svetkovoye. The enemy is resisting with drones. The control zone is expanding from Petrovka. To the south, an active process is underway to dislodge the Ukrainian forces from Zaleznichny. On its territory, the Russian side remotely eliminates the firing points of the armed forces of Ukraine, as well as temporary enemy deployment points. In this event, a Ukrainian group ran into the building. That was followed by defeat. The operator carried out an objective control of the destroyed place of the APU. The advance of Russian combat groups is being ensured. The fighting continues.